Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Mental Health Awareness Initiative. And today we have a lovely guest from Mumbai. She's a counselor and psychotherapist and believes in holistic wellness. Miss Niyati Khimani is our next guest. Welcome to the show, Miss Niyati.
Thank you so much, Ms. Hina. That was a wonderful introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Niyati Khimani, a counseling psychologist and a wellness professional. Currently, I'm associated with a mental health organization known as Out Loud. So we are a team of psychologists which provide mental health care and support to all age groups. We are also associated with multiple organizations. We believe in serving people in whichever ways we can. And our founder is extremely passionate and believes in collaboration. So giving a call out to all organizations who are looking for mental health service, come join us and make a healthier and happier lifestyle. I would like to extend my gratitude to Ms. Hina for inviting me to share my perspective and my inputs on such an esteemed platform.
That is so kind of you, and it is a wonderful work that you and your other teammates are doing regarding mental health and its awareness part, because this is the need of the hour. Yeah, moving ahead, what is your perspective? And as we are seeing this pandemic since last year regarding mental health and its awareness?
I think that's a wonderful question because right now mental health crisis is on rise and it's all-time high. Considering the global pandemic, which no one was prepared for the last year, as it was very uncertain and unexpected, we did see a rise in a lot of mental health cases. And the good part about it is that people started realizing that our mind is equally the part of our body. So we need to take enough care and enough attention for our emotional and mental well-being as well. So I'm really glad to see people coming out in open and talking about stuff that's bothering them, sharing their inhibitions and their reservations at bay. They're coming out and talking about it openly. So gradually, but certainly things are changing. Of course, we do have a long way to go, but slow progress is still a progress.
Absolutely right. There has to be a starting point. At least people are accepting each other's views and understanding, no, this is also important, as you have rightly said. The physical aspect, mental
Yes.
aspect also is very important. Have you come across any specific cases?
Yes, we did have a couple of cases on similar lines of concern, basically having stress, anxiety, loneliness, and a lot of uncertainty because of what's going to happen. And, everyone is surrounded by that kind of stress and pressure. So how to cope with such kind of things, that's something that's bothering people a lot, especially how to take care of our mental and emotional well-being in this lockdown is something that people want answers for.
Very true. And people would love to listen what you have to share regarding it.
Sure, it would be my pleasure. So for today, my topic is going to be self-love. Before really starting with the topic, I would want to give a quick understanding of what has been happening the last year, and of course the history is still continuing this year as well, that we have been challenged, physically, mentally, emotionally, financially, existentially, from all zones in our life. We've been challenged. We have been literally pressurized to get up in the morning with a smile on our face, the pressure to resume normal duties at our jobs with our families, pressure to remain optimistic, even though our normal hobbies have taken a toll on us. And being in this mental health field, I, along with my team, get routinely asked a lot of questions on, how can we deal with such kind of unending stress and uncertainty, anger, anxiety. And my answer remains the same to all of them is, cultivate self-love. So self-love is basically like an antidote for so many stressful situations and seasons in our life. So if you ask me, Hina, in simple words, what self-love is, It's basically like acknowledging, accepting, and appreciating ourselves in all our phases. You know, all the three phases, the good, the bad, the ugly. Like when we are in good phase, it's obviously very natural to be happy and accept ourselves the way we are. But especially during challenging times, as we are all currently dealing with right now, it's very important to be aware of how to cultivate that habit of self-love.
Very true, because there's so much happening simultaneously. To focus
Absolutely.
on this is difficult, if not impossible.
Yes, absolutely. And as I keep on saying it to people that, you know, it is a practice, it is a process. It's not a one-time destination. It's not like you love yourself one day, the next day you feel like I am rejecting myself, or the next day you start hating yourself. It's a practice which can be developed with consistency and intention. You know, just like how you brush your teeth daily,
Mm-hmm.
in a very similar way, it's like a habit. So in order to form a habit, one has to be very, very consistent and intentional about it.
The intentions are the most important thing for this.
Yes, absolutely. Without an intention, it is like doing it because you have to do it. It's like you are being forced to do something. It's not your willingness, like your willingness or your choice is not there in it. But if you have a strong intention, after all, you are the only person whom you have to live with the entire life. You know, it's just that we are a constant in our life, and this self-love is going to help us rise up during this challenging times. You know, Hina, I see many people, I think all of us, not just other people, but including you and me, we have been trained in a certain way, you know, like we constantly look outside for appreciation, acknowledgement, constant validation, and just acceptance of who we are. We just want that one person who would accept us completely. So all this while we end up exhausting ourselves and looking out for other people without realizing that the only person we need to look for is the person in front of the mirror every single day.
True.
Because that's the only person who's going to give that kind of acceptance, acknowledgement, and that level of compassion to your own self is you yourself,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah. So how do we go about it?
So there are, of course, self-love, just like it's a practice and it's different for everyone. But before really diving into the practice, let's talk about different stages of self-love. So, you know, the first stage, the first thing, the first aspect of everybody's life, the first thing if you want to do in life is, if you want to change something in life, if you want to modify your habits, if you want to inculcate a new habit, you have to be aware about it. So the first step is self-awareness. So before we can love ourselves, we must know ourselves. It seems like a very obvious point to do, right? But it's actually incredibly easy to lose sight of who we are, especially among this chaos of everyday life and responsibilities. So we can get caught up in our roles in life and not pay attention to who we really are as individuals. Yeah. And Hina, I'm sure you'll agree with me on this, is that the relationship that we have with our own self is going to set the tone for all other relationships which we are going to have in future. So in a similar way, that relationship which we have with ourselves, whether it's love, whether it's hate, whether it's rejection, is the similar way in which we are going to have relationship with other people. Hence, it's very important to be aware of who you are. What are your goals in life? You know, what are your triggers? What drives you? What motivates you? What really excites you in life? What inspires you? And of course, what relaxes you? So it looks like a lot of information, but these are the basic aspects of self-awareness.
I'm sure the listeners can, pause and rewind and listen again and note
Sure.
it down for themselves.
Sure, sure.
Try to identify the awareness ingredient, let's say.
So once you are aware of who you are as individuals, what are your values? Because again, now coming back to values, values are like the blueprint of who we are as individuals. Like they are the most telling things about us. And without knowing that intimately, loving ourselves will be a forced activity. It's going to be like, I have to do it.
So that's where the intention will also creep in.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
Then the second phase is self-acceptance. So when you dive deep into who you are at the core, on exactly who you are, and we might not love everything we see. We all have certain quirks, certain habits, certain flaws that we are not so proud of. We have certain things that we don't like about ourselves. But the point here is not to actually look out for a fabricated version of ourselves. We don't have to portray a wonderful, flawless human being to the outside world. Because all
Right.
that quirks and flaws makes us who we are. That makes us unique. Until we embrace that aspect of ourselves, we are not going to change it. So once you accept it, you are going to give yourself that unconditional love. I'm sure we don't judge our best friend or our significant other when they make a mistake or when they fail in certain things. But when it comes to ourselves, we are like our own biggest critic.
True, and that brings me to a point wherein it sounds like one is very harsh to oneself at times. They take
Yes,
them
yes,
too seriously.
yes. Especially this happens, when we are having a bad day or when we are
Uh,
having a rough week.
I can absolutely relate to it, and I'm sure listeners will also relate to it because of the current situation and circumstances also. We have a bad day or a bad week, but then that does not mean we should be very self criticizing our own abilities at a point.
Absolutely. That is going to be something which I'm going to be highlighting on the technique when I speak about that. And that's a very good point. So the self-talk, which I'm going to be talking about in some time. As I went through the first two phases, which is self-awareness, self-acceptance, the third phase is self-confidence. Now, self-confidence is like self-congruence. So when you show up as your true self to the world and act on your self-acceptance, that's like self-confidence. So it doesn't mean that we have to put ourselves on display every chance we get, but it does mean that we allow our values and our real self to guide our action and behavior out in the world. So when you honor and celebrate the way you are and let other people see it, that's when you will experience a sense of confidence and that sense of self-love, because you're not playing any role.
Okay, so it's like accepting one's flaws, consolidating on other aspects, and then exhibiting it to the world.
Yes, absolutely. And being true to who you are.
Sure.
And not everyone is going to love us, but that doesn't matter when we love ourselves. Which brings us to our next step, that is self-love. This is like the fourth and the final step of self-love journey. It's about making a commitment every single day to whatever makes you happy, to whatever helps you evolve in life, and especially to whatever helps you rise above your challenges and your difficulties. So if you know who you are, if you have your priorities in place, if you completely accept the person you are, no matter what happens in life, you are going to always flourish.
Okay.
Yes.
It's like, I'll just pause and I'll just give a wrap up of this point that
Sure.
you have. It's like a very beautiful picture that I comes across my mind. It's like a small mountain, and a beautiful scene,
Yeah,
near the ocean. And it's like steps that you have created to reach that summit point. And
yeah.
just remembering the awareness, acceptance, self
Yes,
confidence, and then is self love.
yes,
That's
absolutely.
the last part. So it's a beautiful stairways actually to realize one's own importance and, then moving ahead in life.
That's a wonderful visual imagery that you've just spoken about. I think it'll help the viewers to visualize as well. So, coming back to the techniques that we can implement to strengthen the relationship with ourselves. So, the first thing is when we wake up in the morning, we have this concept of morning pages. So, basically, what is a morning page? So, when we wake up with tons of stuff floating around in our minds, and we need something to channel that energy and get it out. So morning pages is just like a brain dump that will clear your mind to focus on other things. So it will give you a sense of perspective. At the same time, it will help to declutter your mind. So the first thing in the morning, what you're doing is bringing the stuff that's bothering you out of your system. So whether it's
Okay.
the small distracting thoughts that takes your attention, or more challenging issues that can at times hijack our thoughts. So it's about dumping all this stuff and making way for more energetic and constructive thinking.
So how do they do it?
So basically you just need a pen and paper, of course, and whatever has been bothering you of lately, the previous day worries, the previous day stressors, whatever challenges you are at the moment experiencing in your life, whatever feelings that you are going through, just dump it out all on paper. So you have to write. So it's like ideally it's supposed 3 pages are supposed to be filled when you write a morning page, but initially when you start, it might be difficult. Your mind might not come up with ideas. But so if you just start with, okay, today I woke up feeling a little drowsy. Today I just woke up feeling like this. Now I have to write this morning pages. I don't know what to write. I'm still going to think about it. So, the more you keep on giving mind different ideas, you are going to automatically start filling up that page. Not supposed to be read by anyone. You're not displaying it on newspaper, or you're not giving it to any other person. It is just going to be like your secret journal. So even things that are not going so well for you, things that are really going negative, you can just pen it all down. Because
Okay.
usually we have this habit of the first thing in the morning is we grab our phone and keep on mindlessly scrolling on social media or just checking on our mails. And that adds on to our stress rather than eliminating it. Also, as an alternative, if people are not fond of writing, what they can do is a gratitude practice. So all you have to do is the minute you wake up, you are just half conscious because you're still in that zone of, you are still in that drowsy state. So the first thing you can do is think about 5 things that you're grateful for in your life. It just could be as basic as I am safe and healthy in times of corona. My family is safe and secure. Just 5 things. So it's a very powerful way to train your mind to have a very strong morning ritual. It's like a head start for your day.
People will be more inclined to do this activity, the gratefulness part,
Yes.
because it's easy to do than write.
Yeah. So it's about your mind training, because remember the first 15 minutes and the last 15 minutes of your day are very crucial, because that's the time when our subconscious is super active. So whatever we put into our system, whatever we consume, that is going to be something that we are going to live in our life. So if we want to live things that, something which is, we want to live more clarity in our life, we want to achieve so many things in our life. So we need to train our mind accordingly. It's basically like law of attraction. So what you think, you attract and you manifest.
That is rightly said, because the more positive thing or the more constructive thoughts we create in our mind, we will be then exhibiting that also in our day-to-day activity.
Yes, absolutely. Then one very interesting other technique is called writing a love letter to oneself. So appreciating and acknowledging all your unique qualities and specialities. Also focusing on all the challenges that you overcome in your life. Like despite so much of pressure on you, despite so much of stress, you are still very much alive and stronger than before. So basically highlighting all the positive things, all the things that makes you unique is something can be mentioned on that letter.
And Yati, then I think so is also a part of self-love that you are saying, right? Because writing a self-love letter for our own self is
Yes,
also contributing to the fact that you are worth some appreciation and you don't need anyone's validation for it.
absolutely. Exactly. That's the
Okay.
point. That's the point. That you need to validate your own self. If you do that, then you won't be hungry for external validation. Yes.
Okay.
Then we have something called as mirror activity. So this can be done thrice in a day or how many times is suitable for all of the viewers. So basically this is like standing in front of the mirror and actually holding your gaze, holding the eye contact. Usually when we stand in front of the mirror, Hina, we usually focus on our flaws, our limitations, and all the things that we lack in our life. You know, maybe we want a better body, maybe we want a better face, or just here and there. There are so many things that we feel that it can get better, or we want something that's more better or more fancy than what we already have. So in this activity, the idea is to maintain eye contact with your own self and send yourself love. So you can have a laugh if you want, or you can tightly just hug yourself and say powerful affirmations to yourself. You can say things like, I am worthy, I am wonderful the way I am, I don't need external validation in my life, and I love you. Practice, trust me, is going to change your mindset in powerful ways. So initially, it might seem like you are just talking about it and not really feeling it. But once you start practicing, it becomes your second nature. Gradually, you will start believing it because it's coming from your inner self.
That's powerful.
Yes. And also,
Yes.
when we engage in all these practices, one very important thing I I actually came across this once when I was reading something is that when we are coming back to this technique, which is called being mindful of your self-talk. You know, the way you talk to yourself, it's like having a conversation with the universe. So if you say, I am a failure, I just always keep on making mistakes, I am not good enough, I always attract toxic partners, I'm just not worthy of love and attention or affection, that's what is going to manifest in your reality. So the language which we use to talk to ourselves, especially when we are having a rough day, if we just say to ourselves that, okay, I'm having a rough day, but that does not mean I am a bad person. It's okay, I'm procrastinating, but that does not make me a bad human. I still have so many other parts to me. I am still a kind person. I'm still a compassionate person.
So in validating or in recognizing or having positive affirmations, when we are looking and having an eye contact in the mirror, then it is like, okay, you are you and no one can be like you. At the same time, it is also, sounding as if it is all right, it is okay, whatever has happened. You are a good person. Maybe that event or whatever the response or whatever it was, it just happened. You don't need to take it as a load for yourself.
Absolutely. And also when we switch our mindset, it's a narrative, right? So when we switch our narrative from you have to do it, so have to looks like a compulsion. So when you switch from have to get to, when you say you get to wake up in the morning and do this activity for yourself, you get to wake up in the morning and do be grateful for all that you have. That means you're coming from a place of gratitude. You're coming from a place of abundance. You know, you're already blessed that you get to do it versus have to. Have to feels like compulsion.
Very true. And with that note, I would like to ask you, have you experienced any have to moments in the last year wherein it was very challenging for you?
Absolutely. I think also before being a mental health professional, I am a human. So absolutely, I'm not immune to problems and challenges in life. We even have our own difficult phases in our life. Yes, I have experienced something which is very, very personal and very, very unexpected at the same time. So I had just, I had a, I had a really upsetting and a very challenging experience when three people in my family passed away. And this just happened like last year. And of course, it was a huge blow for me, for my family, and for me as well. And at that moment, I realized a lot of things for my own self. And when I started cultivating self love for myself, I realized that, you know, that is the only thing that is going to keep me sane and the only thing that is going to keep me grounded and centered.
I'm sorry for your loss. And it must have been really painful, and it's not easy to, get through those moments. It is very,
Absolutely.
very difficult. And
Absolutely.
so hugs to you.
Thank you so
And
very much. The one
thank
thing
you
which
for
I would like
sharing.
to suggest my viewers is, especially when they go through such challenging times, you know, such difficult times, just don't lose hope. You know, we might feel that this pain is endless, this thing, the challenge is endless. Like the phase we are in, the dark phase is endless. But remember, if you believe in your own self, you have hope. And if you just allow yourself to be, accept whatever it is, that's when it's going to help you survive and thrive in life.
It's really nice that you have shared with the listeners. Very valuable thing, especially when we are, having news from all ends, like so and so has lost somebody in their family or friends. So, this technique of self love, I'm sure if they practice and really follow, they will be able to cope up with
Absolutely.
the, with the loss part. It's not easy, and prayers for everyone, those who are battling right now with this ailment and those who have lost also, because they are emotionally also battling. I really
Yes.
appreciate you sharing with us your personal experience and your coping skills. That is really great. Thanks for that. And before we wind up, do you have anything in mind that you would really like our listeners to take care of?
Sure. I think I would just like to conclude by saying that, you know, no one can take our vitamin for us or prevent us from going into a self-loathing cycle. Even if we land the best partner on this planet, the person won't be able to provide us that level of happiness and make us feel loved unless we create that space inside of us. So self-love is basically an inside job, and all you viewers are, remember, y'all are amazing, y'all are worthy, and y'all are powerful. And self-love is a practice. So even if you hate yourself today, you can always love yourself tomorrow. It's not going to leave your back. It is going to embrace you with open arms. That's about it from my end. Much love and much more power to all you viewers. Please take care in these tough times and remember to equally take care of your mental and emotional well-being.
Thanks a lot, Niyati. And that was really great. I'm sure after listening to you and your tips, they will not hate themselves. They will really realize that it's okay, and we all will together move on with the tough time that we all are facing globally. Thanks a
Yes,
lot once again for your valuable time.
thank you very
Um,
much for inviting me. I'm really blessed and grateful to be a part of this. Thank you very much.
with that, we end this episode. Hope to see you tomorrow with another guest with their perspective as to what they feel mental health is all about. Thanks a lot. Take care. Be safe. Bye.